welcome back CruiseHols, or hello if you're new to this channel, where in this video I take you through what I believe to be the top 10 Zeebrugge shore excursions. If you are scheduled or simply wanting to visit the country of Belgium on a cruise holiday, the chances are that your arrival port will be the port of Zeebrugge. But what can you do whilst you're there, and most importantly, what are the best excursions to do whilst docked in Zeebrugge? Despite offering one of the busiest ports in Northern Europe, and being a popular port for many cruise lines as both a turnaround port and a port of call, the town of Zeebrugge itself is very small, and offers nothing much in the way of attractions for tourists, aside from a small marina and a couple of factory chocolate shops. That means the majority of those visiting will choose to head out on excursions, but don't worry, that doesn't mean that you have to break the bank on a visit there, as many can be easily done on your own, including the day ashore that I had that cost just a couple of euros. But just what are the top 10 Zeebrugge shore excursions? That's just what I look to answer in this list, which is based on my own experience of visiting the port on a cruise holiday and the research that I did before visiting there. So if that sounds of interest to you, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also leave a comment below with what you would like to do when visiting Zeebrugge, or if you have been there already, what you did do. My name is Darren, and this is my top 10 Zeebrugge shore excursions. Belgium may not be known as a top destination for a beach trip, but if you are lucky enough to visit Zeebrugge during a heat wave in the middle of summer, there are miles and miles of beautiful sandy beaches starting from just a short walk from the port gate. A number of seaside holiday resorts are found along the Belgian coast, and are easy to visit on your own, or you can simply head to the Zeebrugge beach. Zeebrugge does mean Bruges on sea for a reason, as when the sun comes out, those living in Bruges flock to Zeebrugge to soak up the sun. There are many things that come to mind when you think about Belgium, and especially the Flemish region, but for me, one thing that comes to mind first is chocolate.
I am shocked and appalled.
Belgian chocolate is famous across the globe, but there is nothing quite like buying some in the country itself. There is a chocolate factory within meters of the port gate, but if you are a chocolate lover, we would recommend heading out on an excursion to visit a chocolate factory, where you can often have a go at making it yourself, see professionals create incredible chocolate masterpieces, and of course try plenty of samples. Flanders is an incredible region full of history and culture, and full of must-visit towns, cities and tourist hotspots. With so much to see and do, and often not quite enough time to get it done when you're on shore, a great option is to book a private tour of the region, where you can often pick and choose to see what you want to see, and experience what you want to experience. Whilst this will often be among the more expensive excursions when in port, if you have the means to do so, it's a great way to make the most of your time on shore and to make sure you have a memorable visit to northern Belgium. The Flemish countryside is home to many beautiful small towns and villages, as well as a number of historical buildings, including the Castle of Loppem. Popular locations to visit include the likes of Dam, home to an incredible market square with a beautiful town hall and church, as well as the town of Loppem itself. When docking at the port of Zeebrugge, you will need to get on a shuttle bus from your ship to the port gate, and from there it's just a short walk to the nearest tram stop, which makes this a great option for those wanting to simply explore on your own when in port. This is exactly what I did when I visited the port in 2024, as I wanted a cheap day on shore and wanted to take a ride on the Kustram, or coastal tram, which is the second longest tramway in the world and the longest in Europe. It runs the full length of the Belgian coast, from down on the French border and goes up to the Dutch border, and that takes in a number of coastal towns and seaside resorts such as De Pan, Nieuwpoort, Ostend, Blankenberge, Noki, and of course Zeebrugge. If you are new to the region, we would recommend visiting Ostend, as its marina and huge promenade makes for a great day of exploring on your own, but for me, I would just visit the seaside resort of Blankenberge, as I had already visited Ostend and much of the coastal region before. A visit to the northern coast of Belgium gives the opportunity to visit a number of important sites from World War I, and that gives you a great chance to pay your respect for those who made the ultimate sacrifice, as well as gaining a better understanding of those dark days. And if you lost a relative during the war, you can visit British and Commonwealth war cemeteries. Tours will usually visit Tynecott Cemetery before heading to the Meningate Memorial, which lists the names of around 55,000 fallen soldiers with no known graves. And then you can go to the Flanders Field Museum. Many tours will also go to the historic city of Ypres, which was the centre of the Battle of Ypres, where around 1 million Allied forces sadly lost their lives. The city of Antwerp is home to one of Europe's biggest ports, but there are only a few cruise ships that call in there. So if you want to visit the second biggest city in the country, the chances are that you will have to do so on a visit from Zeebrugge. Thankfully, that is relatively straightforward, as most cruise lines will offer a visit there on a shore excursion, and it makes a great alternative from Bruges for those who have been there before. Antwerp has an incredible history and periods have been amongst the wealthiest cities in the world, so many of its historic buildings in the city centre are well worth visiting, including its Cathedral of Our Lady and the city's train station. Antwerp's Market Square is also an incredible place to sit, eat and drink whilst people watching, but it is not just about the historical attractions of the city, as Antwerp continues to modernise, led by the iconic Port Authority building. Ghent is a city that often goes overlooked when visiting Belgium, but it really shouldn't do, as it makes a great option for those who want to spend a day exploring an historic city, but without the crowds that are found in the more touristy spots of Bruges and Brussels. The city is one of the largest in Belgium and is the capital of East Flanders, but it retains a small town charm for those visiting there, as the bulk of its attractions are within easy walking distance of each other in its historic centre. That makes it easy to explore on your own, and when I visited the city, we would simply choose a circular walk to take in the sights, such as the Gravenstein Castle, the Church of St. Nicholas, the Belfry, the city's Market Square, and I would also enjoy a cruise on the city's canal from the Grassley Quay. Brussels is the capital of Belgium, and is a city full of contrasts, where modern skyscrapers sit alongside historic alleyways and market squares, and where royal palaces sit close to housing estates. The city is reachable via a coach shuttle offered by the majority of cruise lines, but once you get there, we would recommend simply walking around on your own, as many of its main attractions are located within walking distance of each other, and there is also a great public transport network for those who want to explore further afield. Amongst its main attractions on offer is the Grand Palace, the St. Michael and the St. Gudula Cathedral, the Space Age Atomium, the Basilica of Kocklenberg, Jubel Park, and the iconic Mannequin Piss.
What did you say?
There can only really be one location to visit from Bruges that sits at number 1 on the list such as this one, and that is the nearby tourist hotspot of Bruges. Many cruise lines will actually call Zeebrugge Bruges in their itineraries, or they will call the port Zeebrugge for Bruges, which just highlights how the lines expect the majority of those visiting Zeebrugge to head to the city of Bruges. That is for a good reason as well, as Bruges is an incredible place to visit, and somewhere me and my wife have been to many times before, either as part of a mini cruise ferry holiday or on a coach tour, and that is the only reason I didn't visit there when I went to Zeebrugge on board the MSC Virtuosa. There is so much to see and do in Bruges, from its canals to the beautiful mini water, and from its narrow cobbled streets to its main market square. Arguably the best aspect of the city is its size, as it is easy to stroll around on your own and just see what you come up to next. So I would recommend doing it on your own rather than doing an organised tour. That is especially true due to buses not being allowed in much of the city centre, so you still have to walk from the outskirts anyway, and there are plenty of options to get there from the port, including taking a tram and a train, local service buses, shuttle buses, and of course excursion buses. So all that remains to be said is thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my look at the top 10 Zeebrugge shore excursions, and see you next time.